Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Today is Wednesday. It is January 18th, 2023. My name's Jeremy. This is my first cup. Who is out there? Good morning, Dennis. Where are the rest of my comments? Who's here? Nobody's chiming in. I don't know. Okay, there we go. Good morning, Brian. You guys got to let me know when you're here. Otherwise, I wonder who is watching. Is it bots? Is it spammers? Or is it my friends, my family? I want to know that you're here. It means a lot to me. I hope you are having a good morning. For some of you, it just barely started, and thank you for joining. For others, maybe you've been up for a little while, been up for an hour and a half. Good morning, Kelly. Good morning, Frank. Good morning, Rebecca. And I hope you had a great Tuesday. Yesterday was an interesting day. It was a weird Tuesday. It was a non-recording Tuesday, but I appeared on somebody else's podcast, not a martial arts podcast. It was a business podcast. What else did I do? We're dialing in a bunch of other stuff, and I am continuing to work on time management, primarily by being honest about what I actually need to do, what is most important, and what is really just filler. I am slowly coming to grips with the notion that I cannot do everything, including things that I would like to see get done. Oh, well, it's going to happen. Do you ever feel that way in your professional life or your personal life? You look around your house and you're going, man, look at all these projects, and you go to work, look at all these projects, and inevitably things that are more important steal focus. Your family, your kids, hopefully those things, your friends, training. Yeah, these are all important things. Hopefully you're spending your time where it is most important to you. What am I doing today? Today's going to be another weird day. That client that I always see on Wednesday, on, I think, really her first true vacation since I started working with her. She's on a cruise. And I really applauded her for taking a cruise because it makes it really hard to do work. Are you wondering where I'm going on my not quite vacation? I'm going to go work from here for a little while and then come home. I'm not going to confirm. You're welcome to guess, but I'm not going to confirm. I got two guesses from one of you. Both very good guesses. Someone who pays attention to what I say. What else am I doing? I am recording videos later today for the next 30-day email program. And I was at the gym yesterday and realized, and there's another one after that I can do. So I am hopeful that so many of you will appreciate these programs. I think the 30-day challenge will be the only free one for a while. It's meant to give people a taste of what we do. And then say, hey, if you like that, maybe you'll like this. What else can I share? I don't know. You guys are being quiet, so I don't know how to respond. Must be that you're all busy. You're busy making lunch, or I don't know what else. What else might you be doing in the morning? Back in bed and you just hit the button and fell asleep. Don't forget, tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern. Is that what we said? I think 9. State of the Martial Arts. Not even on my calendar. Okay. Great. Can somebody double check? Is it 8:30 or 9? I'm pretty sure it's 9, but I'm not 100% sure. Kelly says it's a nice little carrot. I'm not quite sure what that means. And she says she's doing class attendance from last night. Oh, interesting. Good morning, Jenny. I've seen a number of schools where they have barcodes or something, and they scan them on a thing when they walk in. And I've wondered, what would it be like if that code was on their belt? because they always have their belt, theoretically. But people change uniforms. So you come in, scan your belt, boop, there's your attendance, all that stuff. I know a lot of systems handle the attendance stuff pretty automatically. Oh, says the 30-day challenge is a nice carrot. Thank you. What were we checking the time for as I signed in? No idea. My short-term memory is about non-existent right now. I stayed up later than I wanted to. I rewatched the first episode of The Last of Us because I wanted to see if I missed anything. And there were a couple things that I missed. Man, is it good. There's a chance I watch it a third time before Sunday. I've never done that before. I also caught something that it broke a record on Rotten Tomatoes, basically for being the most, I think I read it correctly. I didn't read the article. I read the headline. The most celebrated show, basically of all time. And it's for, as it launched. And it really made me take a step back and realize the internet collectively loved something and nerds unanimously approved of something. Since when does that happen? It does stay pretty true to the game. There was something else. Oh, how do I say this vaguely enough? I had an interaction with someone yesterday. Some of you are going to figure this out, but I'll do my best. I had an interaction with someone yesterday who made an attempt to say I was wrong in a point I was expressing. Most of what they were saying in their initial attack was basically rooted in partisan politics, which if you know anything about me, you know that's, I don't claim a side in this BS. But they were suggesting this particular, that, oh, well, this article doesn't like this and you don't like this simply because you are not that. No. I dug into what I posted. I don't just randomly post things. That's never been me. If I'm going to post something, I'm going to verify it as best I can. And then they come back and they say, well, you should read this article. Well, who reads that article? When someone, I do. So I went through and I read the article and it backed up my point completely. And I said that. I said, all this does is further what I'm saying. I have a point here. Hang tight. And so I say that. This is just what I'm saying. It's just backing up what I'm saying. If you're using this to refute what I'm saying, where is it? I don't get it. Crickets. And I spent some time thinking about why. And it goes back to kind of the first thing I said. This person was so rooted in some emotion and assuming that because I said this thing that, I don't know, criticized their team, that I must be on the other team. No, I just point out people being nefarious when they're being nefarious. I don't care if you're on a team. I don't care if you're my best friend or family. If you're doing something that I think is evil, I'm going to call you out on it. Maybe not always publicly. But in this case, I don't know the people. So I called them out publicly. Kelly knows what I'm talking about. So here's the point. The point is to remind you that people are so driven by emotion that facts are secondary. How do most arguments go? Someone gets upset and then they look for evidence. They look for something to say. They look to defend. They get upset and then they take action. Right? It's natural. I don't know that we can ever overcome that. But we can apply that same understanding to most self-defense situations. If we think about a lot of self-defense situations, there's something that creates an emotional response, and then people take action as a result of that. I don't like the way you looked at me. You bumped into me. Don't talk to my girlfriend, right? There's some emotional precursor in most cases. And then people will attempt to defend it. I don't like that you looked at me that way. He was looking at me disrespectfully, right? Like they're trying to feel it's a look. Does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. It's not actually a threat. You ignore it, you let it go, you leave. You go over and buy them a drink, whatever. There's so many ways you can handle it that are nonviolent. But if we recognize that it's emotion first, we can look for those emotional jumping off points. We can look for those places where, hey, there's an emotional situation here that could create a problem. I've literally dragged people out of bars and restaurants because not dragged, but we have to go because the emotional situation is over there. I can see it. I've got enough of an understanding from hearing some of the words, and it's definitely escalating. Why do I want to be around when it gets bad? In so many situations, we have some kind of foreshadowing. This could go badly. Well, it doesn't always. You're right, but why would you want to be there if it does? I don't know about you, but my life is worth more than a 1 in 100 chance. I want as close to 0 as possible. I've built my life around that. Good morning, Andy. And further, don't feed the trolls. Lately, when I've been posting anything on social media, if it's going to be mildly controversial, I'll post it. And then the first comment will be me with rules of engagement or preemptive things. And I even set out like 5 or 6 things to preempt what people would object to. And it led to some not a lot of conversation, but some nice conversation with most people. Interestingly enough, I think every person who responded was someone I went to high school with. Nobody from my college life, nobody from my Vermont life. So I found that fascinating. We all suffered through school lunches together. Remember, tomato paste makes pizza a vegetable. What are you doing today? I didn't ask you that. And how was yesterday? I didn't ask you that either. I want to know. Tell me what's going on. I am not ready to go for this show. I did not open up all the stuff from Facebook that Frank sent over. So I want you to tell me about yesterday, and I want you to tell me what you're excited about today. What are the things that you were pumped about? And we'll go from there. Frank's message. Here it is. Thank you, as always, to my good friend Frank for all the work you do on the show. Thank you to Josh for our theme song. And thank you to Denise for the audio feed. And today we have some quotes from Benjamin Hoff. And Frank says it's part 1. I don't know who Benjamin Hoff is. We talked about Benjamin Franklin, but who's Benjamin Hoff? I don't know. We're going to find out something about him. Black mint tea. It's a blend. A little bit of chocolate stevia and heavy cream. Better than you would think. It's actually quite tasty. Chocolate and mint go together surprisingly well. Actually, no, it's probably not surprising. You know that. The black tea rounds out the flavor, tiny bit of sweetness, and then the cream. So, yeah. Okay. Let's do this. I think I need a nap. I have no firm plans this weekend, so I'm going to try to hike and sleep in. Yeah, it's this one. All right. No, part 3. It says part 3. Did I miss something? Hold on. Yep, I did. All right, hold on. I think Frank sent me the rest of the week. Yep, he did. My bad. Okay. Frank, I'm not used to sending me 3 days at once. I missed it. Here we go. Okay. What is this, amateur hour over here? Yes. Oh, okay. Makes so much more sense. Jenny says, yesterday was a good day. Did some training, learned a few more moves in my newest form, and spent time playing Jenga with Lilith. Ooh, how'd that go? And I'm making progress in putting away my Christmas decorations. Before anyone asks, no, I am not turning on the lights. They are still up, but it's far too late for that. I disagree. If you enjoy Christmas lights, turn them on. I'm sure Dennis will back me up on that. Who cares? If Christmas lights are nice, they can be nice year round. Now, if you want to make them special, yeah, you save them for Christmas time. Left Leg J says, yesterday was kind of a marathon day for me. 5 classes in the morning and 1 afternoon class, meetings until 7:30. Wow. I had my final meeting from 8:30 to a little after 9. First meeting of the 2023 Whistlekick Never Settle Awards group. As always, we had a lot of fun, and we talked about some of the things that we're going to change for this year. And Jay says, I spent all day thinking it was Monday, though. MLK Jr. Day always throws my day. Yeah, I get that. All right, let me try again. Let me try again, and you will know who Benjamin Hoff is now. Some of you may have already known who he was. Here we go. Today is Winnie the Pooh Day. Here are some quotes from Benjamin Hoff's book, The Tao of Pooh. Now we know. Did he also write The Day of Piglet? And here are my notes. Okay. Treat gain and loss the same. Don't be intimidated. Don't make a big deal of anything. Just accept things as they come to you. Now, you might hear that or listen to that and think, wait a second, don't make a big deal of anything? So I'm just supposed to go through life and not find value in the good things, and I'm not supposed to be upset about the bad things? A true Taoist or even a Buddhist would probably say no. It doesn't mean you don't work towards things. It doesn't mean you don't try to avoid pain. But once something has happened, spending time beyond taking the lesson from it is wasted. If I go to class and I have a great class and I leave, every bit of energy I invest into being happy about that doesn't really serve me. Because I can be happy for any reason. I don't have to take that example to be happy. Now, an example that might be a little bit easier, what if I have a bad class and I dwell on it? Oh, I'm the worst. I suck. I can't believe, I should get demoted. It's waste. Now, if I say, okay, what could have made my class better? If I provide some self-analysis, there's some value in that. But once I have my answers, it's time to let it go and move on. It's in the past. I can't change it. Kelly says, since the illness, people seem to put lights up earlier and leave them on later. Rebecca says, trying to muster the energy to take my tree down. We'll see. Dennis says, Christmas trees can become Valentine's trees, Easter trees, Independence Day trees. The uses are limitless. Jenny's neighbor still turns them on. Dennis says, I've got a neighbor who's still putting their lights on too. And Jenny says, a neighbor, huh? Oh, I love it. Number 2, do you really want to be happy? You can begin by being appreciative of who you are and what you've got. Remember, there are millions, literally millions of people in the world who would probably commit murder to be where you are. Let that sink in. That's how good we have it. Is there pain? Yes. Is there struggle? Yes. Do we want more? Yes. And there's nothing wrong with that. But to be happy at what you have, to have some gratitude, goes a long way to building a foundation from which you can do the other things that you want to do. If your baseline makes you unhappy, how much worse could it be? Well, it could be a lot worse. Now, what if it got worse and then it got better, back to neutral again? You'd probably be happy about that. There's no reason you can't be happy every day in that moment. Not saying it's easy, but it is simple. Number 3. By the way, has anybody read Tao of Pooh? I don't think Stacy's here, but I believe Stacy's read it. I don't know that I've read it. The live action Christopher Robin from, what was that, 7-8 years ago? Such a good movie. Modern man's difficulties, dangerous beliefs, and feelings of loneliness, spiritual emptiness, and personal weakness are caused by his illusions about and separation from the natural world. I believe that completely. We have worked very hard in modern society to disconnect ourselves from nature. We have forgotten that we are animals. We're just simply high-functioning animals. And the interesting thing is the more we learn about other animals, the more we learn that they have a lot of qualities that we thought were exclusively human. Anybody who's ever owned a dog or a cat knows that those animals have intuition. And even a grumpy animal, if you're having a bad day, is more likely to be compassionate to you. Some of you have had birds or lizards. I even had fish that had personalities. I literally had a fish that liked to be pet. Whole tank. There was 2 of them, this particular species. One of them would just kind of swim around. The other one, if I put my finger in, would swim up, figure out it was a finger, and then basically rub against it. It's kind of neat. The live action Christopher Robin movie made me cry. Yes, it did. It was fantastic. It was so much better than I expected. I thought it would be good, but it was great. So if we recognize that we are animals, we know what animals need. We know that a deer needs to be out in the woods and eating grass and apples and stuff. We know birds need to be out there with bugs and sticks to build their nest and places to fly and to avoid cats. What do humans need? Forget what humans need in the modern era, because that's not need. What did humans need? Go back as far as you want to. Different people go back different distances. What do humans need? We need sunlight. We need water. We need fresh air. We need movement. We need exercise, which is not the same as movement. We need natural food. We need community. If you think about the environment that we grew up in, that we evolved in, how much of that environment do we have access to? Very little. I'm going hiking this weekend. I've made it a goal. I'm trying to hike monthly, at least monthly. I'm happier and healthier when I'm out in nature. And I suspect the same is true of most of you. Now, you might have some limitations around your ability to move or maybe breathe cold air or something. And I'm not picking on anybody. But how do we get vitamin D? From being in the sun. Our body is literally designed to be in nature all the time. It wasn't that long ago that a house was a cave. In relative history. The more disconnected from nature we get, the less healthy we get. And this is why that article that I posted that some of you figured out on my personal Facebook page about food got me so riled up. Because the foods that they're putting at the top of these lists, so many of them are so far from natural and carry tremendous consequences for eating them. And a lot of us indulge in that same sort of artificial approach to life. I see martial arts as incredibly natural. The way our bodies move is natural, and trying to explore that and understand our bodies through that movement. Whether or not the self-defense aspects are important to you, it's still really good. It's really natural. It's healthy for us. There are some techniques that show up once in a while that I think are a little unnatural, like an inside round, inside turning kick. That's not natural for your hip. That's not a good idea. Biomechanically, that is not a good thing. I will argue that with anybody. But for a lot of us, our training is the most natural thing that we do. It's more natural than the food we eat, than the way we live, more natural than how we sleep. In the dark, no lights, cool, no phones and bright clocks next to you. Right? And most of the problems, as this quote says, tie back to our somewhere between unwillingness and refusal to live more naturally. Some of you know I have huge numbers of plants in here because I'm trying to recreate the outside in my house. I have a lot of earth tones in my house. I try to eat natural food. And there's a balance there. I made the decision yesterday after a tremendous amount of thinking, I'm going to start eating chicken again. I haven't willingly had chicken since, I lived there. 2000 and, actually, when did we break up? 2009? 10? It's been at least 12 years since I've had chicken. And that's a whole other conversation that I don't know that I want to have that on here. But the short of it is, what is my body designed to do? Where do I fit into nature? What keeps me healthy versus my beliefs, right? I'm more than my body. I'm more than my beliefs. Kelly says, growing up on a dairy farm, saw that cows each had their own personalities. They could even be jealous. Had one that was my dad's, quote, pet, who was jealous of my baby sister and would butt her anytime she went down the manger if she forgot to walk along the wall away from her. That's funny. Good morning, Nathan. Animals have personalities. Even the wild animals that I have out here, I've relocated most of the woodchucks, as you know, but they had different personalities. Each one that I trapped and did not relocate because that's illegal, I shot them all. I shot them and put them in the ground. There we go. That's legal. They all acted differently when I caught them. They all acted differently before I caught them. There are different chipmunks around. The deer have different personalities. All these animals have different personalities, just as we do. And one of the best lessons that I can try to convey to you is that the more we recognize we are not separate from nature, that we are part of nature, the more it can inform what, when, where, why, how we do everything. There's a book that I've been taking notes on for years. I don't think it'll ever be written, but it's a philosophy book, and it's around some rules that I've found. And the first rule in there is that the further we get from nature, the more problems we have. It's a very simple way to look at a problem. What is the more natural way to do what I'm trying to do? Oh, there's a problem here. Okay. What's a more natural way to address this? Let's try that first. And when you start to see the world that way, it can be overwhelming because it gets to be so obvious. Oh, well, this happened because of this. That happened because of that. Simple is not easy. And Jenny says, speaking of wild animals, Lilith just woke up. And that's a great time for us to fade out. I want to thank you all for coming by. Thank you for letting me rant and ramble. And I'm curious if anybody has feedback, if you contemplate what we've talked about today, bring it back to tomorrow's show. And I want to hear what you have to say. If you want to support, remember Patreon, family page, First Cup 15, discount code, follow us, share things. I appreciate you coming by. And I hope to see you all tomorrow. So until then, take care, everybody. Peace.